Hey, we're all artists, and we all have demons. And by demons, I mean sketchbooks that we probably don't want to show off to the public. But we're going to do it. Today we're going to look at my 2019 to 2020 sketchbook along with my 2020 to 2021 sketchbook. These are very, very similar. They are my intro to watercolors and my intro to plein air sketching. I was new to both and it shows. So let's talk about it and let's break it down. This sketchbook starts off in the beginning of the summer of 2019, and there's a lot of random different things in here. I was trying to find my thing, if you want to call it that. But anyway, we're starting off with a design I did based off some lyrics from a band I really like. This was a concept sketch that I did for a bigger painting that you can see here. And this is the first of many plein air sketches. 2019 was my skull year. I drew a lot of skulls, tons and tons of skulls, a lot of skulls. But I love this one. I've actually drawn this a few times in many different ways. This is like all time one of my favorite things I've ever done. I got a new job where I was sitting outside a lot, so I was just starting to draw my surroundings. Didn't really have an interest in it before, but since I just had the time, I just started to develop these skills and this interest in it. I wasn't super into watercolors before, but since I had such a portable little kit, it just was so perfect, and then I think my love came from that, where it just spiraled, and you can see it's kind of all I do from then on out. Random little sketches. This is a river, or should have been. Definitely could have done a lot better with my washes and my color choices. A lot of little sketches. This sketchbook is just full of random stuff, but that's like what sketchbooks are supposed to be of. So you're gonna see with a lot of these plein air ones that I just don't have really good edge control, and my washes are just kind of all over the place. I don't fill in everything. They just don't blend together. Like, these are 3 separate tones and it's supposed to be just the sky. All my contrast could be pushed a lot too, because the values are just all the same across the whole board. For example, this tire is the same value as right around here, where the sun should be hitting this hood and be a lot brighter. So this whole side should be in shadow and pushed a lot darker. So same with this, like my washes are just all over the place. I mean, I closed it when it was still wet, so that doesn't help. This one's not terrible, but same thing. I could have pushed the values and the contrast, and everything seems to stand alone, doesn't work very well together. I think I got a new palette here and it was just testing the colors. This is a cute little illustration, I think based on another song, I can't remember. But again, I have a problem letting it dry before I close it. This one to me is a little better than the previous ones. My washes actually go up to the edges a little better. My values are getting a little darker, but again, all my lines are very blurry and things are just kind of blending together. Similar things, the sky got a little better by adding some clouds and some actual interest in it. But a few years later, I painted the same spot just a little next to it, and you can see that here, way better. Switching from that moody winter aesthetic to the bright palm trees. My job brought me down to Florida, so there was a lot of Florida stuff. Why do I have a yellow sky with a bluish purple sky? Like, what's going on? Probably my favorite drawing in this entire sketchbook, besides the skull. It's a trash can. I don't know why. Random doodles at work. So very Florida. I forget what they're called. Egrets. I don't know. Birds in Florida, you see them everywhere. I was chilling with my grandma and I loved her couch and plant. And this whole setup right here is very Florida, very old person aesthetic. I think this and the boat came out a lot better than the other drawings because I was more comfortable in this spot. I wasn't anxious drawing in public, and I had, you know, that stress-free environment of I can just sit there and draw and not have to worry about what other people are looking at and seeing. I was really into foxes. I still am. I think they're very cool. Cute little fox, and then scarier fox, I guess. That brought us into 2020, so I figured let's just jump into the other sketchbook because I started it right after this. This entire sketchbook is, I think, plein air ones, and overall, it's a huge step up. However, I didn't really know any better, so I was new to watercolors, and I was drawing in this sketchbook that I had, but it's clearly not meant for watercolors. It just doesn't hold paint very well. It gets wrinkly, you can see, and doesn't allow for me to blend and do washes very well. Even though the paper was fighting against me this whole time, I was starting to get a better sense of color, composition, just drawing in general of how things work in real life. It's really hard to draw from, you know, life. It's tricky to get angles right and draw everything correct size and to translate colors from your eyes to a page. It's tough. It's really tough. So I think this book is really a step up from the previous year. This was the first drawing that I ever had go kind of viral. I think it got 1 million views on TikTok or something, which, I mean, it's not crazy, but it was big. I was kind of new to posting art online and I was new to watercolors and everything. So this was a huge push for me to just keep going, and it felt like I was starting to be on something. So this was actually based on a photo I took while I was in Florida on a road trip. I just love that cat sitting at that door. All of these are either plein air sketches or based on the photo. Starting to get a better sense of how like leaves work. Foliage is really tricky. I kind of hate it. I really like architectural things like these railings and like flower pots and stuff. I think it's a lot of fun to draw. What I really like about a lot of these sketches is that they're smaller subjects. So like these light poles and these railings and everything. It allowed me to just kind of focus on like the small things that we might not notice every day. But still, my washes were just awful. Like I just couldn't make a smooth wash to save my life, I guess. I don't know why. Actually, I do know why. It's the paper too. And I had no idea how to use watercolors. These dinosaurs are awesome. They're in Myrtle Beach and I remember climbing on them as a kid. So I figured I had to paint them. This was one of my favorite drawings at the time. It was one of the biggest subjects and scenes I was doing. However, looking back at it now, again, I'm just picking these crazy, crazy colors. Like these purple shadows are just so dark and intense. I was starting to push light sources so this shadow side wasn't as intense, but I think it was a good practice. I don't know, I think this croc might be the best thing I've ever drawn. Whew. Yeah, that's a good croc. This was an experiment with blue and black. So this is my workstation. All of these were drawn while sitting at this desk. I was drawing caricatures at a tourist spot and I just had so much time that I would just draw everything I saw. This whole sketchbook was made entirely at work. I really love this one, but why did I add pink up there? I don't know. You can tell where I'm really interested in, and then things I just don't care about, like this background is so loose and just, it's careless. Try to do a sunset thing, didn't really work. I don't know what else to draw, so I was drawing flowers near me, but I just kind of butchered these petals. They don't really look like petals. And then I should have left the center blank so I can add that yellow and it really pop, but again, didn't really think. Didn't really know how to use watercolors. Now we're entering fall. There's still some sand on this one that got stuck. Good drawing, messy color. Pretty good, you know, this one's pretty good. This was in Tennessee. Had no idea how to do these golden clouds that I was seeing. They did not come out very good, but I really like these hills. I could do a lot better now, but overall I think this composition is really interesting. Another Tennessee sketch. I was really into this purple. I don't know what, I think it was a shadow violet. It's just so intense. It was just too much. Another limited palette sketch where I was just using yellow, blue, and black. I used this blue micron, which actually makes for a really interesting drawing, I think. I really like colored outlines. Heavy on the shadow violet and not a lot of brush control. I think I was using a brush pen at the time, trying to get used to that. A milk jug thing, but I just went too dark too quick. I think that's one of my problems that I still struggle with, especially in this one. I just went way too dark, way too quick. And then with this paper, it was lost immediately because you couldn't pull things up because it's not watercolor paper. So I just really need to focus on building up my layers instead of going right for it. Same thing, way too dark, way too quick. Happy Halloween from a scary soap dispenser and another Halloween thingy. Painting leaves are a lot of fun because there's so many colors in there. I don't even know what's going on with this one. We're gonna ignore that. All the same symptoms, just way too dark, bad wash, and we've come a long way. Some bright and colorful toothpicks, which I thought were really cute or fun, and they were kind of cool. Found this really funky birdhouse, and I thought this was actually a really fun sketch because it was just so geometrical and intricate. It's another Tennessee sketch based on a photo I took on a hike. Shout out to hot dogs and hot dogs everywhere. A sketch I did for a bigger painting that I never got around to, and I really like the concept. So hopefully one day, hopefully, we'll see. And then I never finished the sketchbook because I learned I needed better paper. That was fun and maybe a little bit embarrassing. But anyway, next time we're gonna look at my 2022 sketchbooks where I really started to develop more skills with watercolor and just how to paint outside and all that fun jazz. Anyway, if you like this, comment or subscribe or share it with a friend. I'll see you on the next adventure.